On April 18, 1942, 16 American twin-engine bombers appeared over the Japanese mainland. Launched from the carrier Hornet, the bombs dropped by the planes did little physical damage to the Japanese cities, but the psychological damage was great. Admiral Yamamoto had been pressing for a plan for the capture of both Midway and the Aleutian Islands. The Japanese Army had resisted the plan for operations in the Central Pacific before the homeland was bombed. After the raid, Yamamoto's Operation MI was fully supported.
That was a real brave thing that those pilots did. That bombing really generated Admiral Yamamoto to see that they better go to Midway and defeat us at Midway now.
When would the Kido Butai strike next? What was the Japanese Army and Navy planning?
Commander Rochefort was a real authority on the Japanese language. He had spent 3 years in Japan as a language student, under total immersion studying Japanese language, culture.
Commander Rochefort was not alone in Japan. In the 1930s, 36 officers had gone through language and culture studies in Japan. Also studying there was Commander Layton, who was to become Chief of Intelligence for the U.S. Pacific Fleet from 1940 on.
Layton knew Yamamoto personally. When they were in Japan, Layton was a bachelor, unmarried. Rochefort was married and had his family with him, but Layton went with the unmarried group, and among other things, he used to play poker with Admiral Yamamoto. He wasn't an admiral then, he was a captain. But Layton had had exposure and personal acquaintance with Yamamoto, and he did have a feeling for how the Japanese thought. Rochefort would develop hunches about things he was seeing in communications intercept, which were kind of remote and things you couldn't put your finger on. And he anticipated the Midway attack beginning about sometime in April 1942, because he began to see a pattern developing even before the Battle of the Coral Sea.
Combat intelligence from both Australian coast watchers and our own radio intercept units gave us advance notice of Japanese plans for an attack upon Port Moresby. The result was the Battle of the Coral Sea, the first battle in naval history where the opposing forces' ships were never in direct combat, but all action was between carrier-launched planes.
Just before they located our task force, 17 and 11, and we sank the Shoho, which was a light carrier, and damaged the Zukaku and the Shokaku, which caused them not to be able to, one of them not to be able to land their aircraft. So effectively it put that aircraft carrier out of business.
As far as the battle, never been in anything like that. It's just absolutely unbelievable what that guy up there is trying to kill me. And the other thing is, when they had dive bombers, that dive bomber was after me, nobody else. My general quarters was on the flight deck. But the twists and turns, and I gotta say a good word for Captain Buckmaster. He saved that ship, conning it away from torpedoes and bombs.
But anyway, we had a lot of close misses on the starboard side. But Captain Buckmaster would see the dive bombers coming down and give hard to port or hard to starboard, whichever. But we did take some real structural damage from near misses. The concussion and the shrapnel from the bombs caused us severe damage. But the one bomb that hit the deck went down to the 4th level and killed the repair party.
At the Battle of Coral Sea, the Yorktown suffered damage. The Japanese were convinced the Yorktown was finished. The Japanese lost a light carrier, and the fleet carrier Shokaku had serious bomb damage, and the fleet carrier Zuikaku's air group was badly depleted.